I would lean more on the Jinx side.
That's okay. We have Keduii and Flakked to prove that wrong. Now, let's get into the vibe. Yeah, it's game 3. Game 3. The disco music's out.
We're getting a bit of
we need to pump this up. Production needed to make this like, screw our voices. I don't want to talk. We can just let draft go through while we wind up a bit, you know?
Right. Well, we got a Wukong, we got a Sion over on the side of SK.
Oh.
Which means that the front lines, I mean, okay, you can't just pick, like, Gwen is still a thing, all right? Like,
okay, ban Gwen.
Yeah.
Let's get rid of Gwen on blue side and pick Ornn, B1. We haven't had Nautilus earlier in the series.
Yunara has been a pretty consistent ban, which means that she's probably pretty high on the priority list.
What else sits there for you?
J-Span.
Ooh, maybe.
Why do you ban Jace?
Are they going to pick Nah? Like, are we going to go what? Azir's gone as well.
Is it a Jax?
Oh my god, a 1v1.
Oh my god.
It's Gwen
I think
up.
Yunara might end up being a higher B1 just to warn you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Whoever came up with this track, like whoever put this in the playlist, I mean, let's talk. We can make music together, I think.
All right, there's the Yunara band.
Okay. Gwen's up.
Coming through.
So you can't blind a tank. Did Keduii look annoyed there? He slammed down his hand warmer. The Rek'Sai has been talked about. Rek'Sai is a top flex currently. Whether this gets locked in now or later,
that seems highly
seems silly.
Gwen makes way more sense.
You can run a Rek'Sai with this. Move Gwen mid. Put Rek'Sai jungle.
I think Carlsen's now looking at a Jax.
How does Rek'Sai go into Gwen?
I don't know. Check.
Listen, it's just a consideration.
Okay, I think it is improbable. Instead, I think Jax has a higher possibility.
Okay.
We did talk about the Jinx earlier. I do think in a best of 3, Jinx does make a lot of sense. A blind pick Ryze.
Ryze heavy AP jungle with it though?
Right. I mean, we shouldn't be baited into the hovers because
Well, we did see earlier on, we saw Zyra.
Yeah, we did. It just seems super unrealistic to put a Zyra plus a Ryze together. That feels like so AP heavy, especially this early on in the draft when you don't really know what else is coming
Unless you went like a Rek'Sai top.
Jax is locked.
Okay. Could be Jax jungle.
I think it's Jax top.
Okay, I think so too, but just saying.
Well, now, Orianna has been picked in this series. I mean, I know Abbedagge has played Cassio before. I don't know if I like it, though.
At least in Syndra.
You could just do Victor if you want to play it relatively safe and you want to just pick a safe scaling mage.
That is boring.
Picking Vi, I don't love. Yeah, I think Ahri Vi is good. Galio Vi is good.
Ability to match that realm warp is nice.
I mean, I think Galio also, like, if you assume that Sheo is leaning more towards AP junglers, then I think that it makes a lot of sense. The hover over the Kindred right now. Oh, damn. Would love to see a Kindred from Sheo. You can see the big smile from Kamiloo, but that man, when is he not smiling? He's always a happy individual.
This is Fizz hover. We've got to ask him about it. I feel like his Fizz is probably like his one trick in the past.
Poppy makes a ton of sense in this draft.
Yep.
Against Galio, Vi, Gwen, you're getting a huge amount of value out of it. Fantastic disengaged champion. Imagine the Vi ultimates onto the Ryze in the backline. Suddenly you're like, oh no, I'm in danger. And then the Poppy ultimate knocks all the teammates away and there's no follow-up from the Vi, leaving her isolated. Just a really good champion into Vi specifically.
Yeah, running into a Poppy. That might be on Dagda's bingo list. Let's ask him after this. Pause on that. 80 carries are not picked. Ezreal going to be the first to go, and that feels like something that can kite away from this comp.
Also just targeted towards Keduii, very well known Ezreal
that's
player.
also true.
Kai'Sa has a lot of value in SK's draft. I wonder if Heretics consider it a problem. The Xayah response from SK I think makes a ton of sense.
What about an Enchanter on a ban here, and then you pick up the other Enchanter if there's one?
Yeah,
no?
the Kai'Sa I think just makes too much sense.
Yeah, okay. Keduii also favorite.
Yeah, with Jhin, Lucian, Sivir, Varus gone. I'm trying to think of what 80 carries suddenly rise to the forefront.
Zeri as a comp. What do you think about Zeri Lulu here?
I mean, for Heretics, I think it would be fine.
Yeah,
but your engage would then be really poor. I think you kind of need an engage support for Heretics.
Yeah, so what engage supports do we have? We have Alistar up and available, right? So Thresh is gone as well. They're thinking, oh, they're going to go Aphelios Thresh. Alistar's still there. I'm looking across the board. Yeah, not picked up yet. Neeko is another honorable mention here as an engage.
We haven't seen a huge amount of Senna in EU. There's possibly Aphelios, Misfortune, Caitlyn as well.
Surely it's just engage support, your pick of the litter, and then counterpick AD carry, right? Okay.
They could also consider, well, I was going to say Callista for Heretics, but I changed my mind. I don't really like it. There's the Jinx!
The Jinx, yeah. Who is going to start off the engage? Vi ults in, Galio follows, Jinx, Lulu, spaces.
But this is a comp where you could pick an Enchanter for SK. Like Lulu is good. Milio is meh.
Do you care about the disengage too much as Milio, I guess, is the question? Like, just sits by Jinx?
Yeah, because usually with Milio, you want to get value out of his ultimate, right?
Yeah.
And when we saw Casey bring it out, it was specifically into the Lilia, which was really effective. Got a lot of value in that matchup.
Jax, maybe Poppy, Ryze, I guess. It's not the worst, but you are right. There's more specific comps that you pick it into.
It depends if they feel like they need more engage. Leona is still open.
Let's crank into Neeko.
I mean,
does that sound good? No, it doesn't, right?
I prefer Lulu a lot. I think she got nerfed this patch, right? It was either this patch or the last one. But they've nerfed Lulu quite a few times
I've got a computer.
Oh, it was this patch. Yeah, it was this patch.
It was Lulu.
Like, but Lulu she's just strong, man. We don't see her a huge amount in competitive just because she's very squishy. She's very susceptible to picks. If she doesn't have flash, obviously she's very vulnerable. But in terms of the amount of peel that she can provide for AD carries, the hyper carry value she can bring is crazy. And when you see Jinx, the natural response is that Aphelios. I don't love Aphelios plus
into
Neeko.
like Vi, Galio.
Yeah, but what I mean,
I guess it's not the problem.
Aphelios, it very much depends on your guns, right? And also with the amount of disengage they do have, I think Jax can provide good peel. I think Neeko's ultimate can create a lot of chaos. Heretics comp has a lot of ways to create chaos in the fight, making it harder for SK to follow up on those engages. What you can't deny is the fact that Vi goes in, Galio follows. That combo is guaranteed to happen, and that's going to force Heretics to spread out. At the end of the day, this game is largely going to come down to, can Keduii get resets? If they kill Keduii, a lot of the damage disappears, and the responsibility falls on the DnDn, but there are ways to deal with this Gwen with this composition. Alternatively, the moment Jinx gets a reset, it becomes very difficult to stop because Heretics don't actually have a lot of inbuilt crowd control. They've got Jack stun, they've got the Poppy connecting to the wall, they have the Ryze roots, you've got the roots coming through from Aphelios. So there's like a lot of single target.
Yeah, I was going to say, you said there was not a lot, then you named every champion.
I did name every champion. I didn't do what I just did that. I guess from my perspective, I'm like, what is the Jinx specifically afraid of? And that's things like the Jack she's very much afraid of, trying to find access onto the backline. I think both sides are pretty interesting tools. It's all going to come down to the execution.
Down to execution, where have I heard that before? Well, Betty, SK Team Heretics, now quite literally on a nice edge due to their schedules. We'll talk to you about it as we get into game. First win for one of these teams up for grabs, as the other very likely to be eliminated in the long run. Nothing decided concrete here today, but like there's only one team that gets eliminated from each group. The other bottom two will be able to play the cross-group decider, which is not playoffs, but feels like playoffs. But regardless, the best of 5 that has a lot of decision-making capabilities as well. Now, you might be wondering what I'm yapping about. Remember, Team Heretics came through. They versed off against Fnatic. They versed off against G2. They've had a really hard schedule. That's why a lot of people were favoring them coming up against SK, who ran against BDS Fnatic themselves. But SK put up a good fight today. And they've really shown, like, they've put a lot of work into their mid-game with this very new 5-man roster.
I think we've seen the growth happen from this roster, but we're still also seeing the mistakes. The draft, I didn't love. We did see players getting caught out at times. We saw Loopy getting caught a couple times. We saw Abbedagge getting caught. I think Game 2 is largely about DnDn and Skeanz, who are trying to make plays through the side lane. And so, where will the focus be this time around? These two AD carries, naturally your attention is drawn towards them because they're very famous hyper carries. I think it was 2023 was the year where like they were meta all year long. It was just these two ADs non-stop. But that Enchanter difference, like, Neeko is a good lane bully. She has great teamfight value. She's got a lot of potential setup. She can do some clever plays thanks to her cloning ability. Lulu is all about providing peel. And don't fall for the trap that she's exclusively for the Jinx as well. She can offer a huge amount of value for the Gwen. back in the old days, there used to be the Juggermore, right? Which was this idea of you put Lulu with a Cogmore, but then teams started doing Lulu with Olaf. And the idea is that you just give Olaf all these buffs and he just becomes this unkillable monster that can dive into the backline. And you can do the same thing with a Gwen, especially running this Ignite. If this Gwen is able to get a little bit ahead, she can do some serious work in the team fights, especially if she has an Enchanter behind her. So SK definitely have a lot of carry threats. We'll see how SK handle them. And Kamiloo on this Ryze, I want to see him making plays through the side lane. They have great tools to try and collapse with that Ryze ultimate, but of course the Galio ultimate, its ability to respond is a good match as well.
Does feel nice. Again, there's going to be a lot of interaction when those mid laners start moving away. Some of the healing, or rather shielding from Loopy. And remember, for a while, like, Lulu has still been really good as an option in Fearless. And in solo queue for the longest time, I feel like Lulu has just been like a free win support. Because as long as you have an AD carry that can learn to space and actually play the majority of team fights better than 50%, you're golden. And for Loopy in this game, as we talked about, it's all going to be about the resets. Now, quick reminder, it comes down to this final game. It's now a best of one, where Team Heretics have to win this. They've had a rough road starting off. Their series against Fnatic was very winnable. They should already have a win on the board by most people's standards. But here again today, this final game against SK is so damn important because both teams 0-2, and a loss here, I would say, is as good as saying you're probably out unless some teams fumble at the finish line. I
do think that the matchup into BDS can definitely go their way based on what we've seen from Heretics throughout the split and how they have stepped up towards the playoffs. I think for SK, though, it's a much rougher schedule because they're the ones that will have to go up against G2 next week. And if they can't get a win here, they are going up against, right now, one of the scariest teams in the group, which is definitely a difficult matchup that they would have to play into. And they would need to win that matchup as well to stay relevant.
Quick little heal from Loopy here. Range being used well with Calibrum, Gravitum, and Flakked just gets that range down a little bit further, and it's a good trade in the end as well. So this 2v2 starting to win out as well. And it feels quite nice as Vedi.
Kamiloo is doing fantastic in the mid lane right now. He has a 36 CS lead. Well, no, he has a 16 CS lead over Abbedagge. He's already got about a half a level over him, even securing this wave. Actually, this wave should probably close that gap a decent amount. But, I mean, this matchup should be Ryze favored, but not this Ryze favored. Like, he's already built up a kill.
Yeah.
In terms of gold lead.
Like I said, Kamiloo's having a good day. Lane in game one was actually not too bad either. Like, I remember him going, you know, quite even on the Ori matchup, and granted, that was a very different matchup. Like, apart from missing a couple of shockwaves, I feel like, what was Abbedagge? I'm just completely speaking from the wrong angle. The Corki game, right? Like, he did still lane well, and he still had a decent mid game. I feel like Team Heretics was
Oriana.
Yeah, it was. I had a 50-50 shot there. I just missed. A quick reminder as well, I'm yapping your ear off about what the schedule means. We talked about this a little bit earlier, but just so you have it all visually from home, this is why for SK, like this last matchup, you could say is even more important because they're going to verse G2. And G2 have only played one best of 3, but G2 look pretty damn scary after coming back from their 2 internationals.
Yeah, they got a 17 kill to 0 game.
They pummeled Heretics. Yeah, they destroyed them.
Yeah, and of course there's only one best of 3, so don't want to jump to any conclusions, but it was definitely a scary version of G2.
Yep.
Seems that they took a lot away from their trip to MSI. For the time being, though, here in this matchup, 6 minutes in, we're yet to see any first blood, but that mid lane lead just continues to grow.
Abbedagge missed like 1 or 2 minions. I'm not sure if I caught the tail end of that.
Late as well. 586 gold is the lead.
Obscene at this point in the game.
That gap is monstrous. Like, the gap should not be that big. I will tell you that right now.
And who thought it would be Kamiloo? Like, this guy receives probably the most flack out of the team. Carlsen had a really good week too. Sheo had a really good first week. And like, Flakked instead of being here, being there, but I feel like Kamiloo consistently is the person that gets criticized a lot as
Well, I mean, remember, he did come in from a 2nd division LFL team.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't even from
LFL.
the LFL, right? And then he goes straight to the LEC. Naturally, a ton of question marks. But they had a surprisingly solid winter. And then they made the playoffs in summer. Sorry, spring, I should say. My apologies. And the expectation is that Heretics holding onto this roster will just continue to grow. And we heard Flakked, after his tiebreaker against Vitality last split, that he was optimistic in the potential of this team.
Yeah.
And so far this split against Fnatic, I think we got to see some of that potential. They really pushed Fnatic. Sheo had a fantastic series. But then against G2, that potential was squashed.
That was hard to talk
And then here
about.
in game one, it was shaky for Heretics. They built up a solid lead. Things were going kind of as we expected, but then the Nocturne Orianna just turned online, and we need to see that kind of performance again from SK. Skeanz needs to have an impact, and he is the player that we're keeping our eyes on. Can he do on the Vibe what he did with the Nocturne earlier in the day?
Yeah. It is a jungle v jungle series, really, when you look at the performances, the outstanding performances in game 1 for Skeanz, game 2 for Sheo. I do feel like these junglers are going to make or break this roster. Now, obviously in this game, there's going to be a lot of AD carry focus, especially at 3 items as they scale into the game. There is now standing to be a bit of mid lane focus with Kamiloo, who's just reached over level 6, now level 7, actually almost towards 8. Kamiloo's CS lead continues to grow. And as he gets every single minion and starts choving a little bit in this third game. He has the Realm Warp, he's walking up, ready to join this as Grubs now spawn.
Making his way over. SK do have a few wards littered across the top side river, but it's all going to be about who can get that initial push. Both AD carries fairly even, but it will be Heretics to get off to a start. Skeanz in position behind.
Good angle with the control ward as well. It's going to be face checked by Stend. It's trying to be faked out, but he's looking. Rare's real Flakked. Cease and desist. He gets a little artillery punch. He gets bumped away. Flush from Abbedagge, but the rocket hasn't found anything. It's a good disengage, I think, from Sheo, but now away from the Justice Punch, he survives. Oh, it's janky all around. Team Heretic, I think they're so lucky to get away from that.
The execution was a little bit off from SK, but they get what they wanted. The Grubs, they force Heretics back. Flashes are spent from Flakked. They get the flash out of Sheo as well. It should be an uncontested Grubs. Sheo is in the area.
He's got X Flash, but he won't be able to channel it. I mean, SK, if they stick around, there could be another forced fight here. 2 Grubs at the very least. Blast Cone taken away to the Krugs instead. Triple Grubs for SK with a Jinx, with a Gwen for sides. That's pretty nice for SK to start this game off.
And we said we wanted to see some plays from Skeanz, and he finds one.
Yeah.
He goes through the Grubs pick, gets in behind, using the control ward to sit in the darkness, and then he sets up a play with Abbedagge. I think the flash commitment from Abbedagge was just a little too deep. He was basically 1v3 in that situation, and he didn't have the support or really the damage to threaten the kill, so a little bit overzealous, but he still gets away with his life. And Sheo is forced to flash quickly after. The gold lead is still in favor of Heretics, but that's largely thanks to the mid lane matchup Kamiloo. Because DnDn, he's building up a lead of his own up on the top side.
Korean top laner playing Gwen. I wonder how scared we should be, because DnDn is, doing his own one, isn't he? Like this mid lane, this top lane, on opposite sides. And DnDn and Kamiloo doing their best impression to show us how little English they speak is... I feel like we're only just at the brisk of this one, Vedi. Second Dragon's coming up, and in 1 minute 20, we might get another fight, especially since first items might be on the board. It is a question of how Flakked gets his collector in time, and maybe how Keduii gets his Yuntal. I don't think he should have that expensive item, but there is a Riftmaker for DnDn with teleport that is almost up and available. About 10, 15 seconds more. That'll be up in time for this Dragon spawning.
Rotation towards the mid lane.
Oh, yes.
Oh, Heretics used the Ryze ultimate. They're setting a trap on a Keduii.
Keduii should just be out, right? I mean, he's got a Lulu by his side. He just kites it back. And Kamiloo, it's an ambitious ulti. That will be down in time for the Dragon, but they're just trying to poke out Keduii and Kamiloo, or rather Loopy. Just trying to get some damage before the objective.
I think they were trying to get his summoners, but he stood strong. He's like, as you identified,
the Lulu
like,
then.
Yeah, I have a Lulu right next to me. Like, you go ahead, Ryze. Right now you have a Catalyst and a Tia. I'm good. I think I'm just fine. I will take your mana spells to the face, brush them off casually. So far, though, Kamiloo continues to chovy his way through the early game.
He does indeed.
117 CS, 11 minutes and 40 seconds. He's ahead of the clock. 10 CS per minute.
DnDn's getting pretty close to that as well. You talked about it before. He's got the Riftmaker, and now with Grubs, I mean, the Gwen on turret. He's not only going to get the goal, but you said it. Skeanz is going to cease and desist. Chompers down. They need to work out as well. The rocket through, and DnDn picks up first blood. The turret won't finish the job, and now it's hunting season on this tier 1 for SK.
A clean dive comes through from SK. You can see the difference when Skeanz has something that he can have a bit more agency over. They make the dive happen top.
Holy.
They're going to give the kill over to DnDn. All this tower gold as well. SK quickly building a very solid advantage here in game 3.
And Kamiloo has got his own time on bot turret. That's nice, but they have no grubs, so this Ryze is hitting with a pixel blue thing that's not really doing too much damage. He will get himself another plate in the process, but Teleport's going to defend the rest of it as the new wave enters on its approach. He finally gets the plate. Okay, it's solo, it's nice, but right now Kamiloo is on an island because everyone else from SK has a lead. You almost fell over in your chair.
Okay, I wasn't going to talk about that. You didn't need to bring that up.
You leant into the console and you almost went face first into the screen.
I did in fact almost fall over, but no one could see it.
The thing is,
and now EVS knows that happened, and now they will cut it out and people will be able to.
You know, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, like, as an old school gamer, I think, ba, 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 ba. Let's go. You know, when he jumped into the portrait?
Oh, goodness. Hexgate.
It's an old one, but a good one. Abbedagge, it's a clone.
Oh, but they're threatening the bot tower. They're targeting the point of strength, Kamiloo. They want to shut him down.
Warp out, and in goes Abbedagge, but he can't get him in time. DnDn, meanwhile, though, hits the turret, and simply a clone again, but you have to admit, SK, with that play, regardless, they just get more gold in their back pocket.
They are playing the map well.
Yeah.
I feel like you have to give credit to Skeanz in this situation. I feel like he's being the voice. Of course, it is just me kind of speculating, but they're playing around the jungler well. They're moving with him to gain more gold on the map, get control where they can. The dragon is very far away, so they don't really need to live or die over that Scuttle Crab.
And Abbedagge is fine. That turret is still standing strong. Team Heretics are trying to force a play bot, but nothing's going to happen. And Vedi, you know, we've been glazing Kamiloo in this game, and his ability to farm, it's great. But he is a Ryze going up against a Galio, and Galio is such a utility mid who is going to be a bit of a tank.
I mean, yeah, he's got the Hollow Radiance completed.
I would prefer DnDn to be ahead than, you know, my Ryze, right? Like, if I had to choose one or two. I mean, I'd prefer my Jax, you know what I'm trying to say here, right?
Carlsen is what you meant.
Yeah, but like...
Because right now, DnDn is ahead.
Well, DnDn being ahead, I think, is more impactful than the Ryze being ahead, is also my point.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So,
yes.
I mean, because Gwen's early power got buffed all that time ago. And having 3 grubs, your ability to side lane, and you have a 1k gold lead.
I mean, we also talked about it, the Lulu, just, it doesn't matter who she supports. She is enchanting someone. And the more threats that there are, the scarier this composition becomes. Like,
I'm scared.
I do like the SK draft. They just need to keep being proactive, and it looks like that's exactly what they're going to do. Good vision setup around the Herald. Just as it spawns, Skeanz is going to start this one off. Look at Gwen in the top lane, continuing to push that wave. The Jax does have teleport to arrive should anything kick off. Abbedagge doesn't quite have the level 11, but does have the TP.
There's something you talked about in draft that's really resonating with me now. This ability to pick a fight. It does feel like it's Neeko, or Bust, or a Realm Warp, right? And Keduii can stand there isolated by himself in the mid lane because Team Heretics can't close the gap. Herald goes down after they get the vision down, and SK, another objective in their back pocket. This one is going to be able to open up the map a little bit for them as Dragon's 145 away and Team Heretics do not have a trade set up for this mid game.
You know, you mentioned it, and now we get to see it. DnDn versus Kamiloo off in the side lane. Oh, Ward in there, though. We'll spot DnDn out. Nice trades coming through from Kamiloo.
Phase rush, but DnDn, even though he gets chunked a little bit, it is about as much as you expect. Carlsen gets some alone time with the turret, and it is nice to see that for Team Heretics, Carlsen does get some gold back into this game. He needs it. First turret for Team Heretics, and it is meaningful.
Indeed it is. Dragon now on the cards in 1 minute and 10 seconds time. Kamiloo getting this wave pushed out means that he'll have an opportunity to base and then get ready for this objective, and he's going to do just that. But you look at the rest of the map and you can see this Jinx and Lulu continuing to keep the pressure on in the mid lane, making it harder for Flakked to go back to base. He wants to spend that gold ahead of the dragon spawning. He'll spend what he can. Look, he's going to grab that BF sword. A nice pickup ahead of a big fight.
It is.
Just a big injection of AD, but this wave is going to be lost. That's the only downside. Going to lose a bit of experience off the back of that. Keduii, if you could get level 11, just that extra point in your ultimate could make the difference when finding an execution. If you can grab that, I'm sure he'd love to have it, and I imagine another push around the mid wave, so he should get that level up.
You're right, he will indeed. Flakked's half the way away for the Moonlight Vigil being able to join that foray, but Loopy's the one I'm really looking at, again, with everything up and available, with the Redemption 2 and the Dream Bubble. Those shields do quite a lot. The extra magic damage for the Jinx means that Yuntal might feel like an item and a half properly. Look, there's damage already onto Flakked. He's just ordering. Kamiloo flashes in, gets a cleanse out. Pop Blossom gets an engage, and meanwhile, Loopy's isolated. The Wild Growth gets him out of dodge as he flashes out, but SK have been chunked. Flakked, you could say the same as the Herald, now looking for its charge. That will complete, but it doesn't open up mid-tower. Redemption onto Loopy. Heals him up, and he's still got the shields. Keduii is full HP, so he just has to kite back and play it safe.
Loopy is very susceptible, but with the flash committed from Kamiloo, that's one less tool that they have to engage. And with the ultimate gone from Stend, I don't really see how Heretics can find a fight. Maybe a good Poppy ultimate could open them up. Abbedagge trying to zone them away.
Carlsen has a blast cone. That's his angle. Skeanz is not even on the dragon. He's taking a different approach. What a block onto Keduii. Skeanz has just saved the fight. The reset there. The death rocket true. Flakked away from the needlework, but Skeanz does it again. That fight committed assault and battery.
Abbedagge didn't get an opportunity to use the ultimate, but it didn't matter because Keduii was the player that they needed to protect. If they could get the resets onto the Jinx, then SK had a fighting chance, and it was Skeanz that allowed that to happen. From the tri-brush, he interrupts Carlsen's dive onto the backline, he keeps his AD carry alive, and it turns the fight. So we see Abbedagge being the focus, gets CC'd into the wall, Flakked doing good damage, he's chain CC'd, he can't do anything, but that interrupt from Skeanz on the backside commits the ultimate as well, working with DnDn. They find that initial kill, and immediately Heretics is forced on the retreat.
Because Keduii's rocket, if he was dead, he wouldn't be able to send that out and force away Flakked from the fight, force away, I believe it was Kamiloo alongside him, so it's like a chain effect just from that interrupt. Skeanz, you expect the jungler to be on the dragon, but he's playing a flanking game. Very innovative, very smart, and a great play overall from SK that leads them towards their first dragon in this game. And Vedi, it slows the game down. Team Heretics on the team fighting comp with an Aphelios with a Ryze. They don't have that same force that they would on Sol Point that would be able to bring them back in this gold game.
The Artican is something that both teams need to be very cautious about. That extra experience, again, with hyper carries, just getting anything that helps these AD carries get accelerated means that they reach that end game point sooner, and that's the part that you really want to avoid. But I can't help but feel that when you got a Jinx Lulu, the scaling on SK's side is just going to be monstrous. We've talked about the limited engage tools that Heretics have. No flash available for Carlsen means that diving onto the backline becomes that much harder as well. SK quickly growing a lead that is getting harder and harder for Heretics to deal with.
I'm noting all the big CSs. Maybe for DnDn I'm being a bit generous, but I still has a massive lead over Carlsen. 2 items here for this Gwen. Almost 2,000 the lead. That's insane. DnDn's level 13. He's got almost a full level over. Sheo interrupted. Skeanz doesn't pop the ulti. It's just simply a Vault Breaker. And Sheo has to disappear for a little bit now. Bit of poke coming out of Kamiloo, but remember Abbedagge, he started with the Hollow Radiance here, so he's able to block off a lot of the damage. 2-item Ryze doesn't mean too much in the face of the Galio.
Trying to think about what options Heretics have.
Fight for Artican.
I mean, I don't know if I call that an option, more of a response.
Okay.
But
fight with anyone you see. No?
I think you could consider overloading onto the Galio.
Yeah.
So again, like one of my favorite plays on Ryze is when you use Realm Warp to basically gank a lane. So you have someone like the Jack,
Jack.
In the 1v1, and then a Ryze ultimate appears just behind the enemy, and then you set up for a bit of a side lane play. But the problem is, if you do that anywhere that isn't the Galio, there's the possibility of the Galio ulting in.
Yep.
And if you do it into the Galio, well, he can then, in theory, ult out.
Yeah, good one.
So this is what I mean by, like, if I'm Heretics in this situation, I'm thinking about, like, what plays can we make? And I guess you're basically just saying we're relying on Flakked to do a lot of damage, in theory, win the front to back. The Poppy ultimate can be a game changer. If you knock Gwen out of the fight, knock the Vi out of the fight, Galio is not that helpful because he has his ult.
True.
But the Poppy could be the difference maker. Like if the game just keeps going the way that it's going, I feel like that this game is done and dusted in favor of SK.
Oh, hold on, Cowboy. No, you know it's the LEC. No game is decided.
I mean, that is completely true.
You are, that
is my region. That is correct.
That is my region too. Sometimes it delivers. Sometimes it delivers in different ways.
I mean, it gives me
You know?
a banger, and I can't complain about that.
It's like, you know, you get a delivery, and, you know, you expect them to use the front door, but for some reason, they're in the garden. You're like, bro, who let you in?
My deliveries have never come in through the garden.
When I was living in Australia,
Yeah.
I used to live up this, like, half a kilometre driveway. It was vertical. I'm going to pop on that because Team Heretics, hang on a minute. I said, wait, Pop Blossom over the wall. It's onto a Lulu. That is ambition incarnate. Now, Loopy does use the wild growth and heal. For a Pop Blossom, that's Team Heretics only engage, really, isn't it?
I will say that, yeah, Loopy, I think, responded...
Fine?
What's the word? No,
Good.
I think a little bit too much. Like, the heal was
I
unnecessary.
didn't need it.
Yeah, but like, I understand why he would think that. Like, over the wall, there's a real risk of, like, Aphelios ultimate coming through. Maybe the Ryze is there too. He doesn't know. He doesn't see. So he just plays more defensively. But now that means that the Lulu ultimate is unavailable. If Carlsen can get on top of the Jinx, providing that peel is going to be much tougher.
They are doing Atacon, though. I mean, this is a serious threat. Patience on the
DnDn's
edge.
positioning. It's so awkward. He's going to TP in.
Loopy's too. He doesn't have the wild growth if this turns for a fight. Sheo still has his ulti and flash.
Oh, but look at DnDn now.
You're right. Now maybe it matters a lot. DnDn on the flank. The import with the needlework holding off, and he's just jumped on. Never mind. Team Heretics say, what are you doing? Atacon's going to drop in the meantime. DnDn 07. Honorable sacrifice while the flowers are put on his grave.
They do give the shutdown over to Flakked. So overall, I think it's a worthwhile trade for SK. Securing that Atacon is a huge advantage. But Heretics don't get nothing for it. Flakked got a huge injection of gold, securing that mid tower as well. And they're looking to put themselves on sole point. And I don't think from this position, SK can really contest.
No, you're right, especially not with DnDn in his angle. So Team Heretics might call that worth in the end. Dagda was talking to me about it last week, where Atacon, give or take, is about 3,000 gold. Like, that's what the worth is. So you got to remember, for SK, maybe it's like a 4K gold lead now, but for Team Heretics, they're on sole point. Abbedagge, he's got wings, but so does Carlsen. He just jumps away. Loopy here to hop up. And the whole of SK are going to take up topside jungle because that's the trade-off. They lost bot side, and this is just what they can get, the scraps left over.
A tense situation, and that sequence of plays, I think, had more impact than SK perhaps realized. Flakked just getting that extra bit of acceleration could very well be the difference maker. And I guess, like, in this position, like, while SK have been playing relatively well, I think it's safe to say that for both of these teams, their mid-game macro has been a point of contention.
Hey, yes. You know what, Vedius? Sometimes you say a thing on the nose. Sometimes the mid-games have sucked, okay? Let's be real.
Well, I wasn't going to say that.
But you kind of did. You just said it nicely.
I did say it nicely.
You know, Vedius, you're like an Atacon. You're a point, you know, you're too neutral.
I see.
You just got to attack someone. You just got to claw at someone. Okay?
Well, my point is that anything could happen.
There you go. Just like Atacon.
Just like Atacon.
Anything happens there. I'm surprised the game wasn't flipped completely there. Baron's up, by the way, and Vedius, while you and your Welsh brain were kind of thinking about the next steps, items are being picked up, and I'm looking at a free item for Flakked, so your point, your domino effect that you're talking about, like, that shutdown gave Flakked the entry point into Aphelios territory.
Yes, and so if Heretics could just fight within this window where they have that slight item advantage, this is something that, like, I mean, I know it's not necessarily comparable here, but, like, top Korean teams, top LPL teams, like, hey, that's what they'll do.
What are you saying?
I think that the ability to recognize that gap in itemization can be a huge advantage.
It can, you're right.
And so forcing things like a Baron obviously seems very scary, but think about it. Heretics don't have easy ways to start fights. But if you force them into you, Poppy Ultimate can gain a lot more value. Oh, Neeko flanks can create lots of opportunities, especially if you're the one with better vision control. And it can put SK into a difficult position that could swing the game. But if you're just going to play neutrally...
Which is weird, right? Because Team Heretics, this series, their story has been like over-grouping. And like this feels like the game where, as you talk about with an item advantage, maybe now is the time to just group and force.
I mean, that's what I'd like to see, but we'll see what ends up actually happening. Of course, Baron is always a dangerous play to make, but
yeah.
I like the tier 1 approach. Baron's up. Let's do it.
We take it. There's the Barons.
Ooh.
Even at 25 minutes now.
And hey, man, I mean, admittedly, they are T1, but they do make it work.
They are T1. That's the problem. That's why maybe sometimes it works, you know?
But hey, shouldn't we all strive to be like T1?
No, Team Heretics have a T in their name.
That's true.
That is TH. And if you take away part of the H, you get T1. Who knows? Is Carlsen the next Doran? Is Kamiloo the next
Faker?
Faker?
Compare him to Zeus last
I mean, granted, he deserved it. Carlsen deserves the world as far as I'm concerned. I haven't even started with Sheo. I mean, that guy could be owner. As far as I know, actually, I see a comparison of everyone.
I can feel it, yep.
Do you think Kamiloo could be EU Faker? Even though Caps has kind of taken the mantle. But he's getting there. Hey, this series, I'm ready.
Right now, I feel like that you haven't had enough action, and now your brain is starting to wander. So I'm going to need you to lock back in.
I am locked in. I'm ready.
The tension is mounting.
I'm like a fridge with like 2 doors.
I see.
You close one, you got to make sure the other's closed.
All right. Don't understand that reference.
Neither do I. I was just thinking, I was like, I don't want the fridge to go warm, you know? So I got really concerned. In my head, I'm like, and if you get a fridge, you need the water, you know, you need the water thing.
How do I follow this?
There's a rocket.
They were spawning out in the event the Baron had been started. They were a little bit worried.
I have seen your fridge. Not very good, ladies and gentlemen. Vedius has nothing in it.
Okay, my fridge is irrelevant in this conversation right now.
It's empty all
Carlsen
the time.
Is super close to level 16.
Buy some groceries. I'm coming over next week.
Already achieved it. Heretics, I need you to Heretics. Hysterics. Yeah. I need to focus.
I am in. I'm locked in.
35 seconds until the dragon.
Topside play. Realm Warp. Interrupt. Kamiloo. Oh, he doesn't get in.
That's bad. That's bad.
Skeanz is going to find him as well. He is tanky, though, and he's got to seek his arm guard. Redemption. A heroic entrance. Lay it down. It's grand at that, and Kamiloo's dead. Over to Keduii. Big mistake. I called him. EU Faker, and he does me like that.
SK find a huge pick, but Heretics can get themselves the soul. The dragon spawns in 8 seconds time. This Baron is not going down that quickly. Skeanz is not going to be in a position to steal this one away.
I don't know if this is worth betting. I don't think Soul for Baron is going to cut it. SK like we've lost it. Hex Tech Soul for a team that doesn't have an engage. They have Chase.
I mean,
I don't know if that's good.
It depends how much value SK can get off the back of this Baron. The Ryze is still dead. They're going to begin the siege onto the top tower.
Yeah. Okay. Red Bull, show us what you got. Give some wings to SK, because, man, they're going to need it. As you said, how much value do they get? They get at least this top turret. But if it's only 1 or 2 turrets, if they can't break the base and put this game on the edge, where Team Heretics have to fight their way back.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. Heretics, the Soul provides so much extra value.
Soul provides.
But the question is, will it matter? SK, the waves are being pushed out. Look at the bot lane from Kamiloo. He's catching that wave as quickly as he can, moving to disengage. Same thing is happening in mid. Heretics are doing everything they can to slow SK down so that they can't get as much value out of the Baron. Procs to phase rush.
Yep.
Kamiloo runs away to safety.
Bolt Breaker didn't hit, so that's why Skeanz doesn't get as much time as he'd like. Doesn't use his ulti, thankfully. But he's going to take a lot of this bot side jungle. So as he takes away, SK are trying to group up and get a bait in, but Keduii, who keeps farming away now with the Runans. Feeling confident here to step up to the turret. Chomper's down. Sheo flashes in. What an engage from the Poppy. Ulti's up. Abbedagge gets out for now. Shield of Duran is there. Keduii doesn't give any splash damage over. But look at where Skeanz is. Isolated, not punished. Team Heretics couldn't get to him in time.
DnDn is able to secure the mid tier 2. Carlsen can't quite hold the wave. But a nice engage from Sheo at the very least pushes the rest of SK back.
Slows the game down. That's what Team Heretics want. Maybe no, speed it up. Okay, DnDn right on top of them as well. 1v3 with the needlework. He's pop blossomed up. There's a hero's entrance. Big knock up. Abbedagge re-engaged, but no reset. Skeanz now coming in as Kamiloo's isolated instead. Packing. Kamiloo will die. Flash over the wall. Flakked gets out in time, burning both summoners. Close for SK to find a bit more.
Abbedagge is the savior that DnDn needs, keeping the Gwen alive and splitting Heretics up, converting it into a kill. SK don't waste the opportunity. They immediately TP into bot lane and they're looking to break the base.
Kamiloo's 35 seconds from coming up on alive. This inhibitor's going to drop at the very least, and mid is pushing as well. All of a sudden, SK with one counter play, lock in. This is another turret dropping down through mid. Baron is going to end with a 6,000 gold lead. Props to SK. The soul trade looks sketchy, but as Loopy Wild grows on the return and the needlework flies out, Team Heretics are in disarray with their base crumbled before them.
A fantastic punish from SK, capitalizing on that kill and converting it into 2 inhibitors. A massive swing just as the Baron falls off, and we asked, was the Baron for Soul Trade worth it? Off the back of that play, it certainly was. Heretics, I love the idea. Try to get a pick onto DnDn, get another shutdown, slow the game down even more, but they don't get the kill. Abbedagge's ultimate does wonders for SK.
Boy.
Heretics is forced to retreat, and they get so much off the back of it. Now SK can set their sights on the top tier 3, my apologies.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's
GA completed for Skeanz.
Yeah.
And this man, what a night and day difference when he gets a champion that he can have agency on. We saw it in game 1, we're seeing it again in game 3. He really did run the early game and put SK in this position.
Sitting on a ward now, though. We're talking him up on the GA. Is it going to get popped? Carlsen looks in, but doesn't take the Counter-Strike leap. Instead, top wave getting pushed here by SK, and Keduii and Loopy feel safe enough. The whole team Heretics matching this for now, but you look towards that bot wave. That's pushing in. That's super minions. Mid being sent up by DnDn as well, clearing wards as he goes. As SK on all 3 lanes are assaulting.
Heretics are really feeling the pressure.
Rain.
SK, oh, look at Skeanz, look at Skeanz!
And he's in, he just dives in, under turret, they don't care. Flakked the target, the heroic entrance in. Pop Blossom on Stend does nothing! Skeanz with a double, layers down for the triple. A zap in, Carlsen's next to go, and Keduii is unleashed. The attack speed cut means nothing. Give him a double and glaze the hell out of Skeanz. His fight is unfreaking believable as SK Mountain get their first series win of the LEC, and more games like that, SK can do anything.
A strong game 3 performance from SK. Keep their playoff hopes alive. Their next opponent, G2, is going to be an uphill battle, but they showed today that they can make some magic happen. A team that was counted out, where no one had any expectations for them, have suddenly flipped the script, and it's now Heretics that face elimination.
0-3, that's rough. They've got 1 best of 3 to go
against BDS.
And it does feel like, regardless of that series, their series in palm of their hands, or rather their fate. But for SK, they take control. Your key player of the series is the DnDn, Skeanz, or Keduii. That is a hard one, but Skeanz is insane. Like, that game 1, that game 3, he felt like he did a Sheo thing